In Western Australia's Pilbara, cyclones are a fact of life, but February 2026 brought a storm that felt different. Far offshore, a tropical low began to organize, drawing the attention of meteorologists and locals alike. The system quickly intensified, earning the name Cyclone Mitchell, a name that would soon dominate every conversation from Karratha to Exmouth. Early warnings were issued, and seasoned residents knew what that meant. It was time to prepare. The air grew tense as the storm's projected path aimed directly at the Pilbara's heart. News spread rapidly, and cyclone checklists were dusted off. By Friday, February 6th, Mitchell's intensity was climbing fast, fueled by warm ocean waters. Forecasts became urgent. The threat was no longer abstract. For the Pilbara's resource-driven communities, a cyclone means more than personal risk. It threatens the region's economic lifeblood. Ports began shutdown procedures, and the sense of unease was palpable. The sky remained deceptively calm, but everyone knew what was coming. Residents secured their homes, checked on neighbors, and stocked up on essentials. This was the calm before the storm, a tense, familiar ritual of defiance against nature's power. The Pilbara braced for impact as Cyclone Mitchell churned ever closer. The battle with nature was about to begin. Cyclone Mitchell's rapid intensification was textbook and terrifying. Born as a tropical low on February 6th, it quickly became a named cyclone, tracking parallel to the coast and drawing strength from the warm sea. By Saturday, it was a Category 2. By Sunday, a severe Category 3, with a clear eye forming at its center. Warnings from emergency services grew urgent as the timeline to landfall narrowed. Late Sunday into early Monday, Mitchell made landfall between Onslow and Exmouth at peak intensity. Coastal communities endured hours of howling winds and relentless rain. Once over land, Mitchell weakened, but not before unleashing its fury. As it moved inland, the cyclone was downgraded, but the threat shifted to heavy rainfall and flooding. Roads were cut off and communities braced for the next phase recovery. The storm's timeline of destruction was ending, but the aftermath was just beginning. Mitchell's legacy would be measured in more than just wind speed. Cyclone Mitchell's power was evident in its numbers. Sustained winds reached 120 km/h, with gusts up to 170 km/h, enough to tear roofs, fell trees, and turn debris into missiles. Weather stations confirmed the storm's severity. Legendre Island recorded a 169 km/h gust, Barrow Island 148 km/h, and Exmouth over 150 km/h. Onslow and Karratha weren't spared, with winds battering homes and infrastructure. The storm surge brought abnormally high tides, flooding low-lying roads and threatening coastal properties. Torrential rain followed, with Karratha recording over 70 meters and flash flooding feared across the region. Dry riverbeds became torrents, isolating communities and complicating recovery. Mitchell's assault was multifaceted: wind, water, and surge, testing the Pilbara's resilience. The numbers told a story of a storm that pushed the region to its limits. As Mitchell intensified, emergency warnings escalated to red alert, the highest level. Residents from Dampier to Onslow were told, seek shelter immediately, lives and homes were at risk. The Pilbara's cyclone routines kicked in. Homes and businesses secured loose items, sandbags were stacked and essentials flew off supermarket shelves. Evacuation centers opened in key towns, offering refuge for those in vulnerable housing. Schools closed, ports shut down, and emergency crews pre-positioned resources for the aftermath. DFES and SES volunteers worked alongside locals, helping the elderly and vulnerable prepare. The region's resilience was on full display. Preparation was second nature here. Official and community efforts merged, forming a united front against the storm. In the Pilbara, cyclone survival is a collective act, honed by experience. As the final warning sounded, all that was left was to wait. The community was as ready as it could be. As Mitchell's winds eased, the scale of damage became clear. Power outages were widespread. Over 1,500 customers lost electricity, with Exmouth hardest hit. Fallen trees blocked roads and damaged homes, social media filled with images of uprooted trees and twisted metal. Ports and schools remained closed as authorities assessed damage. Flooded highways and debris isolated communities, slowing recovery. The region's economy ground to a halt, with vital infrastructure offline. Water damage compounded the chaos. Storm surge and heavy rain inundated roads and properties. For many, the cleanup was daunting. Wind-blown debris, waterlogged homes, and long-term repairs ahead. The disruption touched every aspect of life: power, transport, education, and business. The Pilbara faced a long road back to normalcy. Mitchell's impact was total. For those inside the storm, Mitchell was a night of fear and endurance. Exmouthshire president called it extremely frightening. A sentiment echoed across the region. Families huddled in hallways, listening to the banshee-like winds and the groan of straining roofs. Every crash outside brought fresh anxiety. Was it a tree, a shed, or their own roof? Power outages deepened the darkness and sense of isolation. Social media became a lifeline. Brief messages of support and real-time updates connected neighbors. "House is shaking, but we're safe," one Onslow resident posted. Dawn brought relief for some, devastation for others. Uprooted trees, shattered fences, and battered homes. These personal stories captured the cyclone's true impact: fear, resilience, and the daunting task of rebuilding. The community emerged, changed but unbroken. In the aftermath, a crucial announcement brought hope. Cyclone Mitchell was declared a declared cyclone event by the Australian Reinsurance Pool Corporation. This triggered the federal cyclone reinsurance pool, making insurance claims more accessible and affordable for affected residents and businesses. The declaration covered damage from winds, rain, and flooding within a 48-hour window after the cyclone ended. For many, this meant a clear path to financial recovery. Claims could be filed for homes, apartments, and small businesses. In the past, high premiums left many uninsured. Now the government-backed pool spread the risk, lowering costs. The system's effectiveness was put to the test, streamlining claims and easing the financial burden. While emotional recovery would take time, this safety net was vital for rebuilding. The insurance declaration became a cornerstone of the Pilbara's recovery. Cyclone Mitchell was the fifth cyclone of the season, a stark example of changing weather patterns. Climate science shows that while cyclone numbers may drop, the storms that do form are becoming more intense. Warmer oceans fuel rapid intensification, and a warmer atmosphere means heavier rainfall and more flooding. Australia's climate risk assessment warns fewer cyclones, but more severe ones, Category 3 and above. Mitchell fit this pattern, showing the Pilbara what the future may hold. Communities must adapt. Stricter building codes, hardened infrastructure, and better warning systems are essential. The new normal is storms that are stronger, wetter, and more dangerous. Preparing for the future means preparing for the extremes. As the clouds cleared, the Pilbara's spirit shone through. Neighbors helped each other clear debris, share resources, and support the vulnerable. SES volunteers and local crews worked tirelessly to restore power and clear roads. Evacuation centers became recovery hubs, offering information and assistance. The road to recovery would be long, insurance claims, repairs, and mental health support all vital. The experience of Mitchell became a lesson in resilience and preparedness. The community faced the storm together and emerged determined to rebuild. The scars will heal, but the lessons and solidarity will endure. The Pilbara's strength lies in its people, ready to adapt, rebuild, and face whatever comes next. Together they prepare for the future stronger than before.